Over the years, isekai mangaka and anime studios have tried all kinds of ways to make their protagonists stand out, with varying levels of success. One series in particular has done something that honestly confuses me. The Eminence in Shadow, much like Konosuba, presents itself as satire, taking a lot of the tropes and turning them to 11, especially when it comes to the main character, Sid. The man is honestly delusional and extremely unbearable. I legitimately hate him, and yet there's something about that exact quality that makes him weirdly complex and compelling in a way I just didn't expect, and it makes me also like him. Sid is that weird kid, you know, the one that you knew was into something really weird but you couldn't put your finger on it. Sid's thing is murder. He enjoys running around and beating up people he deems to be bad guys. Not to really save people. I mean, look at this smile. He does not give a shit that she's being kidnapped. He's doing this for the love of the game. This is presented to us as a classic case of Chunibyo, which is described as middle school syndrome. Basically, kids kind of act like they're super duper cool, or they have special abilities to kind of stand out or to escape from reality. And Sid has it pretty bad. It leads to him having a teeny tiny mental breakdown. Magic! Because he wants more power, magical power. So he lunges himself in front of an oncoming truck and gets isekai'd. He lucks out and gets reincarnated into a world that has actual magic. Now, at this point, you're probably thinking, okay, he has the power that he wanted. He's going to live the life that he wanted in his previous life, right? No, not really. Instead, Sid is obsessed with being the Eminence in Shadow. He's obsessed with being this guy that lurks in the shadows and takes out evil doers, while also being mysterious and slightly autistic. So basically, he just continues to live his life exactly how he was living it before he died. He makes himself what he describes a background NPC, somebody completely useless and unnoteworthy, so that way no one will ever notice him and he won't join any of the main characters' plots. This way he'll have time at night to go out and beat poor people up as this mysterious figure that saves the world. And to be honest, despite the fact that this is insane, it's working. It's working pretty well. You know, when he was a little kid, he saved an elf and made up an entire story about how there's this evil cult using heroes' blood and they want to take over the world, and they're this shadowy organization that works in the dark, and he's this cool guy named Shadow who works in the dark to defeat the people working in the dark. And it turns out to be true. So over the course of many years, she recruits more elven women, and slowly he basically builds an entire organization to combat this cult. A lot of the comedy comes from the fact that he doesn't think that the cult is real, which is understandable. He made that shit up off of the top of his head. Want to know what else is crazy? A lot of you guys aren't subscribed yet. So if you're enjoying this video so far, why not hit that subscribe button? So as they're fighting real cult members, he thinks that he's just fighting generic fantasy world evildoers and bandits. And then he thinks that all these elven women who are, mind you, 100% dedicated to the cause and know that they're actually fighting a real cult are just playing along with him in his delusion. And this is what really confused me, because if this series is supposed to be satire and this dude thinks that he's an edgelord, but he's actually being an edgelord and the jokes are just that he doesn't understand what's happening around him is real, then what's the point? We watch Sid basically do the most insane delusional things to keep up this story that he thinks that he's creating in his mind. When a princess gets kidnapped, he becomes the prime suspect and is brought in for an interrogation and is being tortured. The thought going through his mind isn't, oh man, this is serious. No, his thought process is, oh my god, these NPCs are trying to show me up. I have to show that I'm more of an NPC than they are. And proceeds to just kind of go with being tortured. As a guy who prides himself of committing to the bit from time to time, I would not allow this guy with a stupid haircut to use any of his enhanced interrogation techniques on me simply for the bit. Sid doesn't take it seriously because he thinks it's a game. I was sitting here and going, okay, so if this is satire and it's supposed to be making fun of the isekai genre and it's making fun of edgelord characters, then why do they also make him so dense? He has the abilities to break out of these chains. He kills these two guys later in the episode, but he just decides to be tortured and not immediately go and save the princess. He just continues to play the game. he's not really a good guy. Yeah, he's saving people, but that's like a bonus to him. Like I said, he's doing this for the love of the game. Sid's true goal is to keep the game going no matter what. It's the only thing that Sid really cares about. He's really apathetic to everything else. He doesn't really care about building or maintaining relationships, and a lot of his time is dedicated to him training his body and magical abilities and building these elaborate scenes so he can roleplay with the rest of Shadow Garden. I mean, he begrudgingly becomes somebody's boyfriend simply because she's willing to pay him money, which would allow him to pay for Eminence and Shadow stuff. And I mean, he shows absolutely no shame about it, showing how far he's willing to go to be able to do the Eminence and Shadow stuff. Even though I wish he was just maybe a little bit shameful about it. I don't even think he was doing his loser persona here, but this is why he makes himself a background NPC, somebody that is useless and weak, so that way people won't have to rely on him or drag them into what he doesn't want to do, because all he cares about doing is Eminence and Shadow stuff. In a weird way, I think he wants to control the narrative, but also have it still be improv where he has to think on his feet. And that's why I think that he knows that the cult is real, but he denies it subconsciously, because if he accepts that the cult is real, it's not the plot that he created. It's not his delusion anymore. He's following somebody else's story. But even if this isn't the case, I think if he found out that the cult was real, he would wipe them out in like a month, especially because we have seen how he reacts when he stumbles upon some of these evil plots, and he gets extremely upset that it's not the story that he wants. So he intervenes right then and there to get his story back on track, not out of the kindness of his heart and to actually help the people that need saving. Sid's obsession with keeping the game going makes him extremely unlikable. He lies and manipulates people so that way they'll play the character that he wants them to be. When lives are in danger, he continues not to take it seriously and treat it like a game, and only by sheer luck is he able to really save the day. All of this makes me hate him as a character, and that's the point, and that's what makes him interesting as a character. There's a conversation that Sid has that really opened my eyes about his character and what this series is really about. Sid makes the comment that if a bunch of people died on the other side of the world, he wouldn't care, but says that he cares about things that other people might see as useless or worthless, but to him, they are what matter the most, and if people diss that, he would be pissed. Basically saying that, hey, if you care about something and other people think it's stupid, you really shouldn't care what they think, especially if you like it. You shouldn't give up on something you enjoy doing because other people think that it's useless. And you shouldn't judge somebody for liking something that you don't, because even if you don't care about it, they do. And in Sid's mind, if you don't count all the bad guys that he's killing or this city center that he blew up, he's technically not hurting anybody by doing what he's doing. Is what he's doing stupid? Yes, he's basically role-playing when he doesn't need to role-play. You are supposed to think that it's stupid. I thought that it was stupid. You kind of subconsciously judge him for being stupid and delusional, just for the series to throw it back in your face and be like, why are you judging him when he's not hurting anybody? He's just doing something that he enjoys. And it's technically causing a lot of good. In this aspect of Sid's character is why I started to like him a bit, because I think everybody can kind of relate to that. I think everyone has probably had a hobby or interest that other people thought was either dumb or weird, but you kept at it because you enjoyed it. Who cares if you play video games? Who cares if you enjoy stuff like Star Wars or Game of Thrones? Who cares if you enjoy drawing anime women's feet?
What?
And I think that is a really good lesson that this anime and Sid kind of teach you. And it really does make sense. But then I sat there for 5 seconds and I started to see some flaws in Sid's logic. Sid is a bit of a hypocrite. Due to some traumatizing childhood backstory we haven't been told yet, he's decided never to tell anyone about the things that really matter to him. So despite telling everybody to follow their dreams and to do what they love openly, he himself doesn't do that. He is still using and manipulating people and seeing them only as pawns and not people, especially if it means he can use them to fulfill his delusion. Even going as far as letting some bad things happen because he thinks it would be good for the plot, simply because he wants control of the story, to the point where he creates other personas so that way he can continue moving the story in the direction that he wants it to move in, even willing to play a sort of villain and fighting against his own organization. And when the women of Shadow Garden realize realize this, it deeply hurts them and makes a lot of them depressed. But Sid kinda gaslights them and they fill in some of the blanks and they get all better again, and all of this was just so Sid could get more money. And I know a lot of people are gonna write comments saying, oh, it's just satire, it's not that serious. But this LARPing weirdo hurts so many people that generally care about him, like his weird, slightly incest vibey sister. That's besides the point. The point is, it becomes really hard to watch. And he is fully self-aware of all of this, and that just continues to make him extremely unlikable. It really doesn't help his case that he refuses to take responsibility for his actions, because to him, it is still just a game. His philosophy is that it will all just resolve itself. Every misunderstanding and awkward situation that he caused will just fix itself as long as he just ignores it. It takes Sid from somebody who's experiencing Chunibyo to a sociopath. Now, could this all be intentional? Yeah, all of this might lead to Sid going through a character arc where he learns that what he's doing is technically wrong, and that, yes, even though he's enjoying what he's doing, now he's actually hurting the people that care about him, and it doesn't really matter what he kind of wants sometimes, even if it does make him happy. But from my understanding, there's 6 volumes so far, and he still really hasn't learned that lesson, which might mean instead of seeing character growth, we might start to see Sid not having a grip on reality. He might not know what is real and what he's made up. He might just fully give in to his delusion because it just makes him happy. But what do you guys think of Sid? Do you think he's delusional? Do you think he understands what he's doing? Do you think that he's a bad person? Let me know down in the comments below. I do reply to those. Also, hit the like button. It really does help the video out. And if you enjoyed this video, check out my other videos talking about isekai and fantasy anime. And I will catch you guys in the next one. See ya.